Kubernetes for Humans.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Kubernetes for Humans podcast. I'm Itiel Schwartz, and today we are here at KubeCon London, and I have Jono with me.
Yeah.
Hey, Jono. Pleasure to meet.
Good to see you. How's things?
I'm good. How are you? How is KubeCon so far?
It's been awesome. I love this event, and the fact that it's in London is great because I'm British. So this is a nice time to come back, see all my friends, have a few pints. This has been fantastic. But no, it's been fantastic. I think this is the biggest KubeCon.
Yeah, that's what
ever,
I
right?
heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the rumors, at least.
Yeah. No, but had some great conversations. The expo hall has been great. Been in a ton of meetings, but so far so good.
So what do you do?
So for my whole career, I've basically helped companies build developer and user engagement. Most of the people we work with, they kind of show up and they say, okay, we've got this open source project or we've got this technology. Like, how do we get people using it? And then how do we get people helping each other, right? So we think about communities in a traditional sense. A lot of people think of communities as just like a Discord or a Slack or a forum. We don't really see it that way. We think of it as like, how do you weave together social media and video and, events and online events and whatever else. So you have this like really consistent experience. So, it's kind of like the heart and soul of what makes open source special, right?
Yeah,
and
but
we work with a load of different companies.
I have to ask, like, how did you start doing that? Like, it doesn't sound like it's like every boy dream, right? Like, it's not that common. So how did it start?
When I was 6 years old, I had a dream
of like building the community, like
hanging out in a convention center in London. No, I mean, for me, it was when I was 18, my brother Simon came to stay for a couple of weeks I was living with my parents, and he introduced me to Linux. And this was in like 1998, something like that. And I'd never really heard of Linux. It was in the earlier days. And I used to work in a bookshop, and I bought a book, and the first chapter of the book talked about how people all over the world build this software together. And I thought, that's really freaking interesting. Like, how does that work? And for me, like the mixture of psychology and the tech, I just think it's fascinating. So it sounds like a massive cliche, but literally when I was 18, I was like, I want to figure out how to master that, how to do that. And, every little nuance of how to get people building stuff together. So
that sounds like cool. I figured it out. Like, okay, you like Linux, you like the community.
Yeah.
And then what? Like, there needs to be another like jump, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, when I first got into it, the first thing I thought was like, I want to meet more people who are into Linux.
Okay.
Right? And I was living in central England. I didn't really know anyone. So the first thing I did, like I said, I worked part-time in a bookshop. I would like iron like penguin transfers on white t-shirts. So I was hoping somebody would notice it and then want to have a conversation. Then I started.
It worked?
It worked. People would come in like, hey, that's Linux. And then, I went to a couple of Linux user groups, and then I started a UK Linux community called Linux UK, imaginative title.
Yeah, good thing.
First version of the website was created in Microsoft front page, which I kept that a secret. And then literally like from there to I became a journalist, and then used to write about all these different places. Went to work at a place that I wrote about, then I went to Canonical and built the Ubuntu community, and a whole bunch of things after that.
And what do you do now?
So I run this company called Stateshift, and we're a coaching company. So, we work with big companies like Okta, IBM, Comcast, Pfizer, and then lots of earlier stage companies, a ton of companies who are in the CNCF world.
Give some names. And what do you mean coach? Like, what do you do? Like, you train them,
we work with companies like Umbraco, Octeto, Dagger, Dragonfly.
Nice companies.
And what we do is, when we kick off an engagement, we basically get a sense of like, what do people want to get to? Like, what's the goals of the company? It's always either grow sales, build adoption, build your brand. It's usually a mixture of those. And then what we do is we literally have hands-on coaching on Zoom, where we kind of guide them towards how to kind of navigate towards those goals. And then we provide like super hands-on feedback on what they're doing. Like we're reviewing booths and how to, like, what the call to action is at a booth, and how to do online media and content, social.
Give me like an example of a company that is doing that extremely well. Like, it can be a client, it can be not a client. Like everything goes.
I think a company that's done this really well is GitLab.
Okay.
To me, like GitLab are a really interesting use case because a few reasons. One is they were kind of the lagging company, right? Like they were kind of going up against GitHub.
Yep.
But what they did is, one is they defaulted to openness.
Yep. And
they built a great business around it, which is hard. But two, I think the key to this is you've got to buck the trend. You've got to do something differently. So, an example I often give here is 2015, 2016, GitLab had a massive PR outage.
The worst outage I think I saw ever. Yeah.
And they spun up a Google Doc, they had a live YouTube stream, and they debugged it together with their community. I'd never seen anything quite like that. And
Me
if
too.
you look at what they did with their handbook and all these different examples, I think they're a phenomenal example. Dagger, actually, I think are another company that's doing an amazing job here. They were one of our first customers, and Miranda Carter, who's there, she'd never really had much experience building online developer communities for engagement. She'd done a little bit of it, but not a lot. And she just like leaned right into it, and they built like these Daggernauts and ambassador programs and all kinds of stuff, and they're crushing it. So yeah,
Okay.
and there's so many. What I love about coming to KubeCon is there's so many people doing so many interesting things here. You know, so
Okay. Okay. That's cool. Anything that you want to like closing note, like saying to our like listeners or viewers?
yeah, I think the most important thing in my mind is, I'll go back to what I said earlier on, is bucking the trend. You know, a lot of people come up to me and they say, like, how do I stand out on social media or with events? How do I come to KubeCon and stand out?
Yeah.
And to me, you've got
It's
to
a
do
good
something.
question.
You got to look at what people are doing already, do something different. Whether it, you know, for example, I was chatting to someone yesterday about their booth, right? And they were like, oh, we're not getting a lot of traction. But if you looked at their booth, there was nothing original. There was nothing interesting about it. It didn't evoke any kind of curiosity. And to me, that's the most critical thing. Like, what you put on the booth, the conversation you have with people, the incentives for people to go there. Don't just scan these.
Yeah.
They're garbage in many cases.
Most of the
Like,
time.
actually have conversations with people, qualify people at the booth, and you know, and that's how you stand out. So,
Okay. Super cool.
awesome.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.